Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Fourth and goal to go with the 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Well, speaking of passes, right, there was apparently touchdowns were plenty at the OTAs, especially today. I know, just listen to John Schmeelk giving a quick update on the OTAs today. Everybody was throwing. I even threw touchdown passes out there today. But once again, it's just OTAs. There's no contact, right? But you always like to hear both sides, right? You don't want to. It's very difficult for the defense to, because you can't hold a guy or jam him at the line of scrimmage or anything. You can't. But you do like to hear some nice stuff from the defense, right? The quarterbacks. Well, Russell Wilson was 35 out of 35 today with 34 touchdown passes. Is that what you really want to hear? But really a lot of excitement going on here. So from today's, we've got 3 more to go this week, 3 more OTAs this week, right? But Giants have entered the second to last week of the offseason program. They will practice every day this week except for Wednesday, right? And conclude spring ball with mini camp next week. There's 3 days next week. I think it's the 17th, 18th, and 19th next week. And then that's it. So from OTAs today, touchdowns, right? Giants spent much of the day in the red zone, which led to a flurry of touchdowns at the start of the 7-on-7 drills. Russell Wilson completed his first 4 passes, all of which found the end zone as he targeted 3 different position groups. Gotta love that, right? Wilson zipped touchdowns to running back Tyrone Tracy Jr., tight end Theo Johnson, and then wide receivers Jalen Hyatt, hearing his name a few times this year so far, although it's only OTAs, and Darius Slayton, right? There's a lot of things I still want to accomplish, Wilson said last week. And so every day, I'm just constantly focused on that part of it. I think that for me, every time I step between the white lines, I want to do my best every day and understand that you're just constantly growing. There is constantly things to learn and everything else. In the same 7-on-7 period, rookie Jackson Dart connected with running back Eric Gray for a score, and Tommy Chicken Cutlet Parmesan threw touchdowns to tight end Greg Dulcich and Jermaine Terry II. Moving on to 11-on-11s, also from the red zone, Gray found the end zone again on a screen pass from Jameson Winston. Winston, the former number 1 pick, also connected twice with Montrell Washington for touchdowns. And on both sides of the field. First time was on the right side of the field, or should I say the right side of the end zone, and then again it was a similar play on the left side. Wide receiver Little, who's not very little, little Jordan Humphrey got in the action with a touchdown from Winston. Dart threw 3 more touchdowns during the team red zone periods to Slayton, Juice Wells, right, former teammate, right. Juice Wells Jr. and Jordan Bly. Takeaways. Shane Bowen's emphasis on takeaways once again led to an on-field results. Today it was cornerback Cordell Flott who jumped in front of a pass in the end zone for an interception. We've got to find ways to get the ball, Bowen said last week. And again, you get what you emphasize. We're making a priority this year to make sure we find ways to get the ball. Other notable plays. Late in practice, the offense worked with its back on the goal line. It resulted in 2 big plays. First, a catch and run by Wandale Robinson. The wide receiver tipped a ball from Wilson to himself, secured it in stride, and ran to the daylight down the right side for what might have been a touchdown. Ooh. Similarly, undrafted rookie receiver Dalen Cambry made a nice sideline catch on a ball from DeVito and ran down the field for the rest of his offensive teammates coming behind him to celebrate. The offense was already animated after a long Winston run right before that play. Defensive lineman Roy Robertson Harris and Raheem Nunez combined for a would-be sack. Linebacker Micah McFadden likely would have gotten to the quarterback on Dart's touchdown to Slayton. Brian Burns also made his way into the backfield a few times. Now, the remaining practices, right? So we got tomorrow. They're off on Wednesday. Then they got Thursday and Friday this week. Then they got the following week, a little mini camp, 17th, 18th, and 19th. And then, boof, I believe everybody's gone. Right? All right, then I got this other article here. What we're learning about the Giants at OTAs. With less than 2 weeks before spring football ends, if we don't see the Giants on the practice field again until training camp, the Giants crew members discuss what has caught their attention so far. So John Schmeelk, I know we're usually picking one answer here, but I'm going to give a potpourri because there isn't a singular player or issue that I'm obsessing over right now. So here's what has been me thinking in OTAs. Now, the one thing is pretty much the one thing that that I've heard more than like anything, it's really emphasized in my brain as of up until this point in time, is that the interceptions from Dane Belton. I believe he has 3 of them. Okay. But I mean, the quarterbacks are all throwing some touchdowns. The receivers are making receptions are making receptions and all. Right. But there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? Right. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me so far, especially in the first 2 weeks of minicamp, is or the OTA, shall I say, is the Belton with his 3 interceptions. Right. The secondary is making things more difficult on the Giants receivers. Takeaways are up, and there's not a lot of easy catches to be had, which is good. Even when contact is not allowed, this is good to see early in camp. It's very good to see, especially if there's no contact whatsoever. I like what I see with the way Abdul Carter is being allowed to rush from different spots. That's freaking huge, really huge. And his explosiveness and twitchiness is obvious. That's nice. The Giants are giving their offensive linemen a lot of opportunities with different groups and in some cases different positions. There's no contact, so judging performance is tough, but there are a lot of snaps to go around. That's good. Jalen Hyatt seems to be finding an early connection with Russell Wilson. It is worth watching as the Giants figure out which wide receivers make the most sense on the field with the way the offense is going to be developed with Wilson behind center. If it's going to be more of a vertical attack, Hyatt could be ideal in that type of system. Let's not forget Wilson. The nice deep touch on the ball, right? So you don't want somebody like me out there. You want somebody with a lot of speed out there, and that would be Hyatt. I am drawing zero conclusions from what I've seen from 2 weeks of padless practices, but those are the things I'm keeping an eye on that could be significant as we head into training camp, preseason games, and the regular season. Dan Solomon, having 3 guys for 2 spots certainly beats the alternative if you're defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, who has been charged with solving a really good problem to have. The addition of Abdul Carter to an edge rush group that already included Burns and Kayvon was already going to require some creativity. But the only headaches should be for the opposing coaches. Yeah. We're starting to see and hear bits and pieces about how it's all going to work. Ultimately, we want to get a best 11 on the field, whatever way we got to maneuver to do that, Bowen said. We got to find ways to get the guys that can impact the game on the field. So there is some versatility there. There's a lot of versatility there. Absolutely. With Abdul, he did a little bit of that stuff in ball college early in his career. Yep. He was an off-ball linebacker, and he came off the edge. So he's got the versatility. I mean, that was the one thing is that, when one thing was with Lawrence Taylor, I think it was Ron Jaworski. Got the ball, whatever, came out of the huddle, went up to the line of scrimmage, was calling signals, who was looking around, who was looking for Lawrence Taylor. Couldn't find Lawrence Taylor. Called timeout. Lawrence Taylor was on the sideline. He had a problem with his shoe or his equipment or helmet or something like that. So he was on the sideline. Somebody came in to replace him, but he's looking around. Where is 56 at? I don't see him. Nope, timeout. I mean, could you imagine running off to the side? Could you imagine Phil Simms running off the side of the field? Yeah. Going up to Coach Parcells or something. Why the did you call timeout? I couldn't find so-and-so. Could you imagine that kind of, oh my God. But I think it was Ron Jaworski, couldn't find Lawrence Taylor. He calls timeout, right? So not saying that Abdul Carter is going to be Lawrence Taylor. Certainly not saying that. But that's the flexibility you want, and not only so much where is he at, but who's coming, right? Because if Abdul Carter is going to be maybe an off-ball linebacker on a certain play, well, he can drop into coverage. He can also come, right? I mean, Burnsy can drop in coverage. Kayvon can drop in coverage, right? So you don't know. You want that flexibility, right? That's huge. Who's coming? Who's going? Right? If Abdul Carter's here in front of me, right? One of the off-ball linebacker, like in front of me, is he coming from here? If he's going to come, is he coming straight ahead, or is he going to loop around? Or right? Yeah. So Bowen's got his work cut out for him. I mean, it's a good problem to have, but getting all these guys involved, and oh yeah, I mean, unless once again, don't ever want to be. I don't want to say the I word, injuries, but right, unless we get totally decimated by injuries. I mean, if this defensive group is not like top 10, I'll even say 11 or 12, whatever. I mean, we're gonna have to raise our right hand and wave bye-bye to Mr. Bowen, because I mean, if Bowen can't get this defensive group to be in the upper echelon, I'm sure we got somebody else out there who can. He's got some nice problems to have. I got too many good guys on. What am I going to do? But you better get these mofos to bring it. All right, Matt Sitek, I'm sorry. As Brian Dable has told the media, star wide receiver Malik Neighbors is not participating. Let's see. Quarterback Russell Wilson has relied on his other pass catchers. We are now heading toward the end of these spring practices, and it's become clear that Wilson has started to develop some nice chemistry with the other wide receivers and tight ends. As Schmeelk mentioned, Wilson and Hyatt have connected a lot through the spring. The veteran quarterback has gone out of his way to praise Hyatt to the media at various times since being introduced as a Giant, and the two are backing up those praises on the field. Wilson's first pass during 7-on-7 drills on Monday was a beautiful throw to Hyatt in the corner of the end zone for a touchdown. And that's, I'll tell you one, obviously, you have to work at your craft. Now, exactly what the problem is with Hyatt, I don't know. Right? Is it the route running? Is it something up here? But one thing that can help, right, is some confidence, right? You get some confidence from a quarterback, like the way the guy's doing, saying, praising him and stuff like that, right? Quite possibly a future Hall of Fame to be quarterback, right? Who's won a Super Bowl. Should have won 2, if not for the stupidest call in Super Bowl history. That can do a lot for Hyatt. And I'll tell you what, if we can get the best out of Hyatt, boy, right? We know he's going to be a project, right? Because, although he had like 332 touchdown passes, receptions against Alabama, coming out, he was going to be a work in progress. He was certainly going to be a work in progress, right? Tennessee, their offense was not like NFL, type offense. So he was going to need some help, right? All right, what we got here? Of course, it would be great to see if the Neighbors was out here catching passes from Wilson during OTAs, but the most important thing for the 21-year-old, 21 years old. Can imagine that? 21 years old. Wow. How lucky we are to have that guy. Wow. 21. Oh my God. The guy he'll be 30, right? And it'll be like his 10th year in the league. 10 years or maybe only 30. Wow. But the big thing, get him healthy. If you got to bubble wrap the dude until day 1 or something, bubble wrap the guy, right? because the issue he had, right, with his toe, I believe it is he had that in college. So it's just probably going to be possibly a recurring thing, possibly, right? So instead of, aggravating it early or, giving him unnecessary reps or whatever early on, we know what he is. We know what he can do, right? Don't need to aggravate that toe any earlier than we have to, right? I can't imagine it would take long for Wilson and Neighbors to build a connection of their own. And once they do, the sky's the limit for the star wideout. For right now, though, the veteran quarterback's growing chemistry with the other targets has been on full display these last couple of weeks. That continues to grow as we get into training camp. Then the offense should be in good position to start strong once the season kicks off in September. Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly anxious, right, to see what we have here. A lot of it is also going to, obviously, we're going to talk about the offensive line a little bit here, but the offensive line, but also not so much the offensive line, but the health of the offensive line. Andrew Thomas, right? Can these guys stay healthy?